Let me share something important with you, and I need you to really focus because this isn't just another celebrity tale. This is something much more significant. It's about a young man from the streets of Puerto Rico who, without ever compromising his identity, changing his language, or altering who he was to fit into someone else's world, managed to conquer the globe. We're talking about Bad Bunny, and if you think you know everything about him, I assure you, you don't. The events surrounding him lately are the kind of extraordinary occurrences that typically belong in movies, the kind of rise that makes people pause and wonder, how did he achieve that? So take a seat because this story is incredible from start to finish. A quick pause. Welcome to Inside the Heist. If you're enjoying this video, please subscribe as that will help us on our long way to YouTube monetization. Now back to the video. Let us start right there at the Super Bowl, the biggest stage in American entertainment, an event that pulls in over 100 million viewers in a single night, an event where artists spend months preparing, where production teams burn through millions of dollars just to get the stage right, where the pressure is so intense that even the biggest names in the world have cracked under it. The Super Bowl halftime show is not just a performance, it is a statement. It is a moment where the entire world looks at you and decides what you are worth. And Bad Bunny walked out there and did something nobody in that position had ever done before. He performed almost entirely in Spanish. Not one or two token Spanish lines dropped into an otherwise English set. No, he stood on that stage in front of the whole world and he rapped and sang in his language, in the language he grew up with, in the language his grandmother speaks, in the language of the island that made him. And the crowd went absolutely insane. But here is where the story gets even more interesting, because the moment the show ended, people did not just talk about it, they ran to YouTube. They shared the video like it was the most important thing they had seen all year. They sent it to their cousins, their coworkers, their friends who didn't even speak Spanish. And within weeks, that halftime performance crossed 100 million views on YouTube. 100 million. Let that number sit with you for a second. That's not fans of a niche genre quietly streaming something they already loved. That's the whole world saying, we saw something special and we need to see it again. That's a cultural moment that refuses to disappear. Every view is another person being pulled in, another person discovering or rediscovering why this man matters. 100 million views does not lie. You cannot fake that kind of gravity. And just when you thought the story had already peaked, it went somewhere even nobody expected. Bad Bunny dropped a song called DtMF. Now, if you haven't heard it yet, stop reading and go listen, but then come back because you need to hear what happened next. That song, sung completely in Spanish, no English hook, no crossover attempt, no strategic compromise to appeal to a broader market, climbed all the way to the #1 spot on the Billboard Hot 100. #1, the most competitive chart in the music industry, the list that has historically been dominated by English-language pop, hip-hop, and R&B, the chart that basically tells you who rules American mainstream music at any given moment. And Bad Bunny hit the top of it with a song that is entirely in Spanish. And here is the detail that should genuinely make your jaw drop. The last time a fully Spanish song reached #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 was in 1987. 1987! That was almost 40 years ago. Reagan was president. The internet didn't exist. Most people alive today were not even born yet. And no Spanish-language artist had been able to crack that ceiling again until right now. Until this man from Vega Baja, Puerto Rico, walked into the room and broke it wide open. Think about what that means for a second. For nearly 40 decades, the music industry operated under this quiet assumption that a song entirely in Spanish could not top the American mainstream chart. It was not a rule anyone wrote down. It was just the way things were. Labels knew it, managers knew it, radio programmers knew it, and somewhere along the way, that assumption became a ceiling, invisible but very much real, a barrier that shaped decisions and limited ambitions for generations of Latino artists. How many songs never got pushed because someone somewhere said, the English market will not connect with this? How many artists were told, you have to include an English verse, you have to water it down, you have to make it easier for people outside your culture to swallow? And then Bad Bunny comes along and doesn't ask permission, doesn't adjust, doesn't compromise, and he shatters the whole ceiling like it was made of glass. But what makes this story even more layered is that this isn't some overnight situation. This is a man who has been putting in work for years, building a foundation so strong that when the moment came, there was no stopping it. Bad Bunny started out uploading music to SoundCloud. He was bagging groceries at a supermarket in Puerto Rico while making songs in his free time. He wasn't coming from a wealthy family with industry connections. He was coming from the same kinds of streets and the same kinds of struggles that a lot of people watching him right now have lived through themselves. That authenticity, that realness, that refusal to pretend he was something he wasn't, that's exactly what made people connect with him so deeply. Because you can feel when someone is genuine, you can feel when someone is performing a character versus when someone is just being themselves at full volume. And Bad Bunny has always been himself at full volume. And his fans didn't just find him, they adopted him, they protected him, they built a relationship with him that goes beyond music, the kind of bond that makes people camp outside stadiums for days, the kind of loyalty that turns casual listeners into lifelong supporters. And that loyalty has followed him everywhere he's gone. His concerts sell out in minutes, his albums break streaming records on release day, his fashion and style choices get dissected and copied across the world. Everything he does turns into a conversation, and every conversation eventually turns into a movement. Which brings us to the next chapter of this story, and honestly, this might be the most fascinating part of everything happening right now. Bad Bunny is preparing to perform in Brazil, and before you say, so what, let me explain exactly why this matters so much. Up until this point in his career, his massive audiences have fallen into two categories. Either they are Hispanic, Spanish-speaking people who grew up with the culture and the language and already felt the connection to his music in their bones, or they are American audiences, people who live in a country where reggaeton and Latin trap have been growing for years, where Spanish phrases pop up in everyday conversation, where the cultural exposure has been building gradually over time. Those two groups already had context for who Bad Bunny was before they ever bought a ticket to his show. But Brazil is different. Brazil is a country of over 200 million people who primarily speak Portuguese, a country with its own enormous, vibrant, deeply rooted music culture, a country where the mainstream has its own identity that doesn't naturally overlap with reggaeton, the way American pop culture does. This is a crowd that is not walking in already converted. This is a crowd that is walking in because Bad Bunny's reputation alone, his energy alone, his magnetic pull alone was enough to sell those tickets, and that's an entirely different kind of power. This will be the first time in his career that he steps in front of a massive audience that is neither Hispanic nor American, and the world is watching to see what happens, because if he can walk into Brazil and command that crowd the way he commands every other crowd he has ever stood in front of, then the conversation about what this man has built shifts entirely. It stops being a conversation about a Latin artist succeeding in a Latin market, or even in the American market. It becomes a conversation about a truly global phenomenon, someone who transcends language, who transcends cultural borders, who can make a stadium full of people feel something even if they don't understand every single word coming out of his mouth. And honestly, based on everything we've seen him so far, betting against that outcome feels like a very risky move. Because here's what people keep missing when they try to analyze Bad Bunny's success. They focus on the numbers, the streams, the views, the chart positions, and yes, those numbers are extraordinary, but numbers are just the symptom. The real thing, the actual root of what is happening, is that this man makes people feel seen. He makes Puerto Rico feel seen on a world stage. He makes reggaeton feel respected in rooms where it used to get dismissed. He makes Spanish feel powerful in spaces where it used to get talked over. Every chart milestone, every YouTube record, every sold-out stadium is just confirmation of something that was already true on a human level. People connected to this music in a real, deep, personal way. Everything else is just the math catching up to the feeling. And let's not forget what it means for the next generation of Latino artists watching all of this unfold in real time. Because somewhere, right now, there's a 15-year-old kid in Colombia or Mexico or the Dominican Republic or right there in Puerto Rico, sitting in his bedroom making music on a laptop, and he's watching Bad Bunny stand on top of the Billboard Hot 100 with a fully Spanish song and thinking, okay, I don't have to change who I am. I don't have to translate myself. I don't have to shrink to fit the room. I can walk in exactly as I am and let the music speak for itself. So when you add it all up, the 100 million views on the Super Bowl halftime performance, the first fully Spanish #1 on the Hot 100 since 1987, the upcoming historic shows in Brazil in front of a massive non-Hispanic, non-American audience, what you are looking at is not just a winning streak. What you are looking at is a redefinition. Bad Bunny is rewriting what global success looks like. He is proving that you do not have to abandon your identity to reach the top. He is proving that authenticity, real, unfiltered, unapologetic authenticity, is not a weakness. It is the most powerful weapon an artist can have. And the world is only now starting to fully understand just how far that weapon can reach. This is not the peak of the story. This is not even close to the end. If anything, based on where things are right now, it feels more like the beginning of something we have never seen before. And that alone should be enough to keep your eyes wide open and your attention fully locked in. Because whatever comes next, you are going to want to say you were watching. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this situation, so please share your opinions in the comments. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications to stay updated on this story.